Let's say you were sick. Which team of doctors would you go and visit? Team 1 or Team 2? And why?
If you were to get sick, which doctor would you choose? Number 1 or number 2, and why?
I'll go with number 1 because they look like they went to school for what they're doing. They're professionally trained, medically trained, and I feel like it would be a lot safer to go with them.
Why do we value the Western physicians more than we do the medicine man or the traditional healer? The answer just may lie in what you were taught or what you wasn't taught. The very foundation of what we consider modern medicine is usually credited to Hippocrates, a Greek known as the father of medicine. In many hospitals and healthcare facilities, there are statues and buildings named after Hippocrates. But this Greek is actually not the father of medicine. Hippocrates studied the medical traditions of the Kemetic ancient Egyptians. He studied in Hotep. Who was in Hotep? Hotep was an architect, priest, scribe, poet, and yes, a medical doctor. He, along with the medical doctors of the Nile, was so far advanced beyond other civilizations. Imhotep existed around 2600 BC and is the earliest recorded doctor. This man was a genius. He had a thorough knowledge of anatomy, the internal organs and their functions. They understood the heart as the center of the circulatory system and knew how blood moved through the major vessels to our organs, and had treated over 200 diseases, including gallstones, gout, appendicitis, tuberculosis. More discoveries out of Africa are continuing to prove that civilization throughout the continent was well advanced. But it wasn't just Kemet. Ancient Egypt, people from the Bantu to the Kushites to the Zulu understood medicine and have contributed greatly to what we call modern medicine. For example, the Mono people in present-day Liberia would practice quarantine for patients with communicable diseases like smallpox. They would be confined and treated with the anti-itch salve to reduce cuts leading to infection. When it was no longer needed, the area would be burned. Our ancestors clearly had a deep understanding of contagion and sanitation, which wasn't discovered in Western medicine until the second half of the 19th century. In 1879, a British imperialist saw a successful C-section performed in present-day Uganda. We don't even know how long babies have been delivered surgically there using banana wine and the root of a tree as medication. But by the invaders' own account, the procedure was clearly well developed. And at this time, Europeans could not perform a successful C-section while saving the life of the mother. They learned the procedure from Uganda. And the Zulu warriors? The Zulu warriors, when fighting the British invaders, were backed by excellent medicine men. You wouldn't think so looking at the warrior with his skulls and such. But, school them, Credo.
The war machine of the Zulu nation was backed up by a highly sophisticated medical corps, a corps of healers and traditional surgeons whose purpose was to heal all kinds of wounds that an army could sustain in battle. If you look at the skull here, you might say this is a black magic object. No, this is a thing of education where a healer of high caliber was taught what to do when he met various kinds of head injury on a warrior or an ordinary person.
And did you know that some knew of over 700 plants and animals and their medicinal purpose? See, we were taught to believe that the herbs and the attire were evil and not to be trusted. But compared to Western medicine, most of the process is not organic. What we're accustomed to are the synthetic versions of those natural herbs. What's recreated in a lab is not a natural process. But one stark difference between Western medicine and that of the traditional healer lies in the priority of treating health. A traditional healer's #1 priority is maintaining the health and spirits of the individual in his tribe or his region, because healthy individuals build healthy families, which build healthy communities, which build a healthy society, and continues civilization. As opposed to Western medicine, we're mixing medicine with capitalism. Your health may take a back seat to what's most important, making money.
Doctors not even pretending or trying to cover up the fact that they prescribe medicines only for kickbacks.
The company was involved in almost $500 million worth of economic crimes and handing out bribes to hospitals, doctors, and health officials in the form of free travel, sexual favors, and illegal money transfers.
They're giving people with suicidal thoughts and deep depression these drugs that worsen it. And the side effects even admit that. And all the shooters are on them. All of the totally insane people are put on these to make them even more insane for money.
They're interested in symptomatic treatment. They want patients who are diabetics, cardiology patients, Parkinson's disease, rheumatoid arthritis, arthrosis, because you live a long time and the drugs that you have to take, you take that for the rest of your life. Don't take for granted what your doctor is telling you, because the doctors these days, they don't know much about medicine. The doctors don't get information from anywhere else except the pharma industry.
And what's often neglected is what the traditional medicine man gives: herbal and holistic treatment for our mind, body, and spirit. Africans throughout various colonized countries were prohibited from practicing cultural, spiritual, and healing customs that kept our civilization alive and thriving for over 200,000 years. Through generations of demonizing this way of life and culture, sadly today, we no longer value the wisdom of our ancestors. So maybe our traditional healers weren't savages. And maybe they understood that the earth will provide everything that we need to sustain and maintain our healthy lives. So I say that we go back and look at our ancestors, and not with the Eurocentric eye, but look at them and appreciate them for how they kept our civilization alive and thriving for hundreds of thousands of years. And of course, appreciate them for contributing to what we now call modern Western medicine.